Good morning and welcome to Fair Work Fun Fact Friday. I'm sure that we can make this an actual thing. I promise you fair work can be exciting. So this week we're actually discussing an almond processing company. So this is a recent case. It's from September in 2023, and it's a Brownport Almonds have actually signed an enforceable undertaking with Fair Work, which has resulted in a back pay of more than $500,000, which is an enormous amount. This has actually come from where they were paying flat rates and had misclassified some of the workers. So one of our biggest takeaways from this case, and I'll just read a little bit of the Fair Work media release to you. So the Fair Work Ombudsman began investigating the company's compliance with workplace laws in May 2021 after receiving requests for assistance from workers. During the investigation, Fair Work inspectors determined that Brownport Almonds had been misclassifying its workers under the horticulture award, leading to underpayments. So in response to these findings, the almond company actually did their own payroll audit and reported to the Fair Work Ombudsman that it had actually underpaid 197 current and former workers across the 5-year period. So a lot of it has come down to this misclassification, and I'll just go back to the Fair Work press release because it probably explains it really well. Underpayments were caused by the company failing to apply each employee's correct job classification under the award and by the use of flat rates of pay. All underpaid employees had been classified and paid at the level 1 classification, despite being entitled to higher rates of pay because they were performing duties outside of that classification. And it's not just this award where that can happen. The restaurant award's another one that you need to be really careful in what duties that your staff are undertaking, because it can vary actually quite significantly between the classifications if they are undertaking those duties. And probably the other thing is to a lot of these go back over a period of time. It's really important to check that whether you looked at those classifications 5 years ago or 8 years ago, that you check and make sure that they are still current. Have a look at your employees' job descriptions. Have a look at the duties they're doing. Are they matching? Do they need updating? And then have a look at the classifications under the award and make sure that all of your paperwork lines up and that you are actually in fact covered now, today, in October 2023. It's really important that you go back and check. Just because you've done it once doesn't mean it's still current. The misclassified employees were paid a flat rate of pay even if they were required to work overtime or shift work, and that was insufficient to cover those minimum entitlements. So they were underpaid minimum hourly rates and not paid penalties for working afternoon and night shifts and for public holidays. Individual back payments ranged from $4 to almost $12,500. The average back payment was around the $2,750 mark. So one of the other things that the almond company have had to do is actually pay interest to all affected employees at 6.1% per annum as well. And they also had to make a $50,000 payment to the Commonwealth Consolidated Revenue Fund. This case demonstrates the importance of employers placing a high priority on meeting their legal obligations. Their misclassification of their workers was left unchecked and led to a large back payment bill. And that is the biggest issue. Just keep checking, make sure that what you have done in the past is still current, make sure your contracts are up to date. Again, in addition to the underpayment, Brownport Almonds also failed to make and keep proper records of overtime hours worked by the employees. This is another thing. A lot of people ask us if timesheets are required, and yes, even our guys here at HR Dynamics complete a timesheet, even though they pretty much work the same hours every day. It's really important that you have that in writing of what has been worked, what has been agreed to, and what is outside of rosters. Keep your timesheets, keep your rosters, make sure that your pay slips meet requirements. As usual, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us here at HR Dynamics.